These are the assembly instructions for my crayons and Play-Doh treat box. So this is the box base, the part that slides out, and I'm just folding down on all the score lines. So next I'm choosing a tab on any of the four corners. I'm just putting glue on the underside of that tab, and then I'm folding the adjacent side up so that the cut line of that side is right against the score line of my tab. And then I'm going on the inside and just spreading that glue. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with all four corners, just putting glue on the tab, tucking them towards the inside of my box, and making sure that the cut edge of the side is right against the score line of the tab. So next I have the four flaps at the top of my box. Those are there to reinforce my box. So I'm just putting glue from the score line to the edge on each one of those flaps, and then I'm folding them inwards. I'm going in with my bone folder and just spreading the glue. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use a ruler or something with a nice clean straight edge. And I'm just doing that for all four of those flaps. So next I'm going to build some of the holders that go inside. So I'm starting with my Play-Doh and my box holder, and I'm folding down on all the score lines for it. And then I have a decorative piece that goes on top. I'm just going to glue that in place while my piece is still flat. Just trying to maintain an even border of white around those cutouts. So now I'm putting glue on one of the tabs at the corner. Much like the larger box that I just made, I'm bringing the cut edge of the adjacent side over to the tab. I'm going to do that for all four corners, just putting glue on the tab, tucking the tab under, and folding it to the adjacent panel. And this piece fits snugly into my box, like so. And then I have my smaller box for within my box. So this is the lid piece and this is the bottom piece, and I'm just folding down on all the score lines for the bottom piece. Just like the two other boxes, I'm putting glue all over that corner tab and then bringing my tab up behind the adjacent side, and I want the cut edge right against the tab. And I'm doing that with all four corners, just putting glue on the tab, gluing my side to the tab like so. Again, I have those flaps to reinforce my little box. So I'm putting glue on all four of them and then just folding them inwards and going in with my bone folder to reinforce the glue. And then I have the lid for my box, and it's very similar in the way that it's assembled. I'm folding down on all the score lines. Then I'm putting glue again on those corner tabs and tucking them under the adjacent sides and bringing the cut edge of those sides to the score line on the tab. And then because it's a reinforced lid, I have those four flaps around the top as well. I'm just putting glue from the score line to the edge on every single one of those flaps and then folding them into the interior of my lid. And then again going in with my bone folder just to make sure that everything is nice and adhered. And so then the lid goes onto my little box, and then my box goes into the little space that's reserved for it. And then I have the holder for my little drawn images. Now these are just images from Design Space that I have turned into drawn images, and they become coloring pages. I've just folded down on the score lines for the three sides. So this is the underside of it, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue just in the corners like so on those two tabs. And then I'm bringing the bottom tab upwards. And then I have a piece of lighter pink cardstock. I'm just putting glue along my three tabs, gluing it to the bottom of that piece of cardstock, like so. And then I just slide my images inside. And then I have the piece to hold the crayons. So I've just folded down on all the score lines. So I have my tab at the top here, and I have a score line here and then a second score line. And I'm just gluing my tab just above that second score line. So I'm putting glue all over that tab and placing the folded edge of my tab right on that second score line. And if it's hard to see, just fold your score line upwards and make sure that your tab is being glued right against it, like so. Then I'm going in with my bone folder and spreading that glue. I have my decorative pieces for this. I have the smallest one with the 4 circles cut out of it. I'm putting glue on the underside, just gluing it over that top panel. And then I have the largest one of the panels. It has the ovals cut out of it. I'm putting glue on the underside of it, just gluing it over those oval cutouts. And then I have the panel that goes inside my triangles. So I'm just putting glue all over that panel and then just inserting it into my shape and placing it, trying to maintain an even border all the way around. So this is my crayon holder, and I'm putting glue on the bottom of these 2 panels. So, And then I'm inserting it in my box. And I want the first panel to be right against the edge of my box. And the second panel is glued down right on the bottom of my box. And then I put my coloring cards inside. So next I'm working on the sleeve that my box fits into that serves as its lid. I have my frame piece that's for the top of the box, and then I have a piece of acetate to create the window. I'm removing the protective layer on my acetate. So this is Cricut acetate, so it has a protective layer on both sides. On the top of my frame piece, I'm just putting double-sided tape around the opening. You could use good quality glue here as well. It just takes longer to dry. Then I'm removing the liner from my double-sided tape. And then I'm lowering my acetate onto the opening, covering that double-sided tape. And then I have my frame piece with the outline of my little bear. And on the underside of it, I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape just around the outline of that bear. So I'm putting glue all along the frame, and I'm removing the liner on my double-sided tape, trying to center it as best I can over my light blue panel. So next I'm going to assemble my little bear. So now that he's assembled, my little bear goes on top of my frame like so. So I'm putting glue on the underside, and I'm just gluing my bear, trying to maintain an even border around that edge. Then I have a little silver frame piece, and I'm just going to glue that down. Then I have the bottom of the box, so this is the sleeve that the box fits into, and I'm just folding down on all the score lines for it. So I'm looking at the interior of my box. I'm putting glue along this top tab, so from the score line to the edge of that tab. I'm taking my teddy bear image, so with the teddy bear upright and to the right, and I'm gluing my frame piece just along that tab. I want the edge of my frame piece right along the score line of my tab. Then I'm putting glue on that corner tab and on the top of that side tab. I'm just raising up my box, and I want the edge of the back of the box to go right up against the score line of that tab. So then I'm folding down that left hand side, and I want the edge of my frame piece to go right along the score line of that tab. I'm flipping it over and just going in there and spreading that glue. And do the same thing on the other side. So I'm putting glue on that corner tab and all along that side tab, tucking it all inside my box, making sure that everything is exactly in place. The edge of that piece to follow along the score line. And then I'm going in with my bone folder and spreading that glue. So then I have a few embellishing pieces for my box. I'm making sure that the bottom of my box is towards me. And I'm going to put a little pull tab at the front. I'm putting glue on one end of it. I want it to loop around like so. Here you could totally use a ribbon instead of cardstock. So this is the center mark. I'm just putting my pull tab here like so. And then I've got a semicircle to put on top of it. And then I have a little decorative piece for the top of my box. I'm just going to glue those two little hearts in place. I could also put glue on the sides here and glue this to the sides of my box just to make sure that it stays in place. And then I've got my Play-Doh, and I have another decorative piece that I'm going to put on the bottom here underneath my crayons. So those embellishing pieces, including the frame on the top, are cut out of foil craft board, and I'm just gluing that in place underneath my crayons. And then I'm inserting my crayons into my box. And I don't want to insert them too far, because what I want to have happen is when you push them up, they stand up on their own. You can take out your coloring pages and then color. And then when you're done, it all goes back into the box, and then you just close your box. Like so.